Hey everybody, my name is Chris Chudacoff. Welcome to my show. I call it a podcast. I call it a quasi-interview. I have some exceptional people in my life that I have met that are incredible experts in their field. They're not good at what they do. They're great at what they do. I'm not looking for you to meet someone to make a referral. I'm looking to make an introduction. So let me tell you a quick story. You like best? Are they all kind of equally weighted to where the importance level is the same, but the timing's different? Like, do you have one that you just love more than the other, or is the probate and just the planning part of it all equally passionate?
I mean, I think my practice is pretty evenly divided between estate planning, trust administration, probate, and also conservatorships and probate guardianships. And then I do business planning and maintenance as well.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have a favorite. I love estate planning because it's so proactive. It's so rare you get to visit a lawyer and not have a problem.
Yeah, right.
So, that's amazing.
Like, hey, I want to be here today.
No one's like yelling at each other or mad at me.
Yeah.
So it's fun. That's a nice sweet spot for someone to be in as an attorney. I love trust administration and probate. They're both like unraveling a puzzle. How are we going to figure this out? What's going on?
Okay.
They all can present their own unique issues. We've had immigration issues and criminal issues and bankruptcy issues, and I mean, you name it, it's come up.
Yeah.
In those worlds.
I bet.
And then conservatorships and that realm is a totally different animal.
That's a hard one, isn't it?
It's a hard one. Yeah.
It's emotional.
Very emotional. And there can be, right now we have conservatorships going for, very elderly folks, which is what the conservatorship system is designed for.
Right, to protect them.
And then also much younger people who have an impairment that prevents them from functioning as an adult and they need support.
So what happens, like, I'll give you a hypothetical. Mom and dad pass away.
Yeah.
They have maybe a special needs child, underage or even adult age, right? Someone's got to, whatever wishes they've put in writing, someone's got to be able to make sure that child is cared for and all that. Is that kind of the conservatorship?
So that is describing potentially a conservatorship, but for sure special needs trust administration.
Yeah.
Folks who have a special needs trust as a beneficiary can be under conservatorship, and it's quite common for both to exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Okay. What's the benefit of it?
Of a special needs trust? Yeah. Well, if someone is on needs or income-based benefits like supplemental security income through Social Security, Medi-Cal, anything where handing them a check is going to disrupt their eligibility for the benefit, then we keep it inside of a special needs or supplemental needs trust. Okay. So it's a type of irrevocable trust that they'll never have direct custody or control over the asset.
Got it.
But there's a trustee there managing it for them.
And they're going to follow whatever mom and dad, again, hypothetically, mom and dad's wishes.
Yep.
Because that person's probably not really going to have the ability to ascertain the right decision of
very often, very often. And so they, the trustee is with them for the long haul. Yeah. They can purchase property, buy and sell, send them on vacations, do whatever it is they need to do to live a quality of life. Yeah. But also pay for things like, medical expenses, anything that they need.
Okay, here's my biggest fear on that, just because I have fears of the unknown.
Yeah.
You set that up, and hopefully an audience member can gain some value from that. I always say the 4.2 listeners. What happens if that attorney passes away?
The attorney who set it up passes away?
No. So you've got the special needs trust. Someone's administering it.
Yeah, so it's a trustee.
Yeah. Let's say that trustee's an attorney.
Yeah.
And they pass away. Or let's say the trustee is me and I pass away.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's a provision in there.
Yeah.
What if there's not?
So if there's not a backup named and there's no mechanism in the trust for anyone to appoint or elect someone, then you have to seek the instruction of the probate court.
You really do treat everyone the same, whether it's a $50,000 case or a $5 million case. And so where does that come from? Why is that passionate for you regardless of the outcome of the compensation that they're going to get or you're going to get?
So really what it comes down to is I like helping people. And I know a lot of attorneys will say that, especially a lot of personal injury attorneys. But for me, the money isn't the driving force. It's the win. So it's like a winning mentality. It's also winning against insurance companies that don't pay out when they should. Because if they did, they probably wouldn't have to hire me. And so There are some cases that I do pro bono, and I just tell them, when you win, just call me and let me know. That's it. So I'll tell them, maybe go to small claims. I'll help you out. I'll do the brief for you. I'll do everything.
Yeah.
I want you to win. The only thing you have to promise, call me when you beat the insurance company.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that. So, I know you're a huge sports fan. We'll talk about the Laker jersey in a second. Do you carry the same mantra that I do? Like, I hate to lose more than I like to win?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not, it will eat me and it will eat at me forever. I won't forget about it, right? You always remember the losses. The wins come and go.
Yeah.
But the losses are so much harder for a person, whether it's in business or personal life, than the wins.
Yeah. It's so true. And I know our mutual love for basketball.
Right.
I get a few reels on Facebook. I don't like everything. It's just watered down, but I like anything that's kind of some of the motivational speaking stuff. I love anything that's marriage that is funny about husbands and wives. But what I love mostly are the sports stories. And recently, I don't know, last 6 months, 9 months, everything is about Kobe, Michael Jordan, and Tom Brady. And there is only one recurring theme. If you see any of those, it's the same exact thing. Not one of them talks about the rings and the championships and the GOAT and any of that stuff. All three of their interviews focused on one thing, the losses.
The losses.
And how the wins just didn't, they were great, but the wins really didn't mean as much as the losses did. And I think sometimes, especially in personal lives, people don't look at losses in the way that it's going to make me stronger, it's going to build me up. And so you've got this sports mentality that you've kind of carried over into your business.
The main misconception and the biggest mistake I see, and I ask people to send me, even people that I don't represent, I say, send me your declaration page, which kind of shows what your coverages are for your
deductible,
your
liability amounts, all those things.
Deductible, liability amounts, whether you have rental, etc., is not having enough uninsured, underinsured motorists.
Okay.
Especially if you're a good driver, because in the state of California, if the person who hits you doesn't have insurance, obviously the uninsured motorist covers you above and beyond what insurance they may have. If they have zero, it's easy.
Sure.
If they have the minimal policy, which just changed to $30,000 in California, used to be $15,000.
Okay.
If they have $30,000, but you have $100,000.
Hold on real quick. Sorry. Someone has to have minimum liability coverage of $30,000 now. Even if they don't have insurance, minimum liability, if they hit you, it's got to be $30,000.
Correct.
Okay.
The limits were raised from $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident aggregate,
Got it.
to $30,000 per person, $60,000 per accident aggregate. That just happened January 1st.
And if they only have that, and then you have uninsured motorists on yours, you
correct,
have more than that if you want.
Correct. So if you are in an accident with somebody who has the $30,000 minimum and you have 100,000 uninsured motorists, it also counts as underinsured motorists, meaning they don't have enough insurance. And if your injuries and damages and your medical bills are such that your case is worth about $100,000, then you can go and look towards your insurance company to help pay for those damages.
Okay.
People always underestimate
that.
the amount. Part of the reason is a lot of brokers do a disservice for their clients, because when they when their clients use uninsured or underinsured motorists, it counts as a check mark against the broker, and they get audited.
Interesting.
So it is negative. So I once had a broker tell me, I have an office in Tulare, California as well, and one of my neighbors, she sells State Farm, and she said, I would never send you a client because if they use uninsured, underinsured motorists, it counts against me. And I looked at her, I said, but isn't that the whole point of your job is to protect people? Don't you want your clients to be protected? So that's the thing that people, I just saw a policy that somebody we mutually know, I'm not going to mention names.
Yeah.
She asked for an increase. So yeah, the broker increased her underlying liability coverage to $250,000, but kept her uninsured motorist at $30,000. I go, absolutely not. Try and have your liability coverage match your uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. That's an easy thing. If you can't afford a ton, that's okay. But especially if you're a safe driver, it's going to protect you.
Yeah.
Right. I always say, do you put on your own seatbelt or do you have somebody else put your seatbelt on for you? I put on my own seatbelt.
Right.
That's why I look to my insurance company to make sure I'm protected.
Okay. So I think I'm a smart guy. Clearly I'm not. because I've just learned something new. And same, like I'm like, oh yeah, of course I'm protected. Two quick things on that. Uninsured motorist. So let me give you a hypothetical. I get hit by someone, they don't have any insurance, right? And you deal with that later. And I have, I don't know, $150,000 with my insurance carrier. And you help me get that money from them if they don't want to give it, right? Even though it's my own insurance company, they could still find ways, right? Because that's sometimes insurance companies do. But if I've got that coverage, potentially you're going to help me at least get what I'm owed based on what uninsured coverage I have on my own policy.
Correct. And then oftentimes they don't pay out, and we would then do a demand for arbitration against your own insurance company for not paying out what is deserved.
Yeah.
Just because it's your own insurance company doesn't mean that they fight any less.
I
can tell you that. I'm
still sure that even though I'm a paying customer for 32 years, they're still going to be like, oh yeah, we're not going to just give it to you easily. We're going to make you fight for it.
We have a mutual friend who had 2 underlying claims against his own insurance company, and I was in litigation against them for several years before they agreed to pay me what was right.
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes it takes that to
Sometimes
do that.
It takes that.
Yeah.
Most cases, the misconception is that there's all these cases clogging up the courts, and less than 1% of all cases are actually tried in a courtroom.
Okay. Meaning like with you against the insurance company?
With you against the third party, or an arbitration against the insurance company. When it's against your own insurance company, you can't file a direct lawsuit except for specific instances I don't want to get into. But if you get hit by a third party and you want to go after them and their insurance company doesn't pay you, you file a lawsuit. If you get hit, they don't have enough money, and you go after your own uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage, you make a demand for arbitration and go through the arbitration process.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
And I know there's no guarantees, right? Other than, me wearing a Laker jersey today. Everyone has a misconception, and it may or may not be true. I file an uninsured claim, $100,000, whatever that looks like, doesn't really matter. And my insurance company is going to be pissed at me, right? Because I'm going to hire you to kick their ass and to get me what I deserve. In theory, are they raising the premiums later? Are they non-renewing? I know there's no guarantees to that, but can you give an opinion with your 30 plus years experience in that field? Like, what is that?
It's interesting that you ask that because it's an issue that we deal with all the time.
Yeah.
Because the rule states that they're not supposed to be able to take an adverse action against you for using your own policy. Right. However, I had a person who said, I was in 2 accidents that were my fault, and now I'm going to make an uninsured motorist claim. Are they going to drop me? And I said, well, they might drop you because you were in 2 accidents that were your fault.
Yeah.
This isn't going to help, but in reality, they're not supposed to.
Yeah, got it.
They're not supposed to raise your rates, and they're not supposed to drop you.
Yeah.
So as you know, the climate for insurance in California is difficult, both homeowners and car insurance.
Sure.
Very, very difficult these days. So I do ask people, are you comfortable making the claim against your uninsured motorist? In my experience, they have not taken an adverse action, dropped them, or raised the rates. They're not supposed to.
We do a lot of education, and we really believe in doing the right thing. It's integrity, doing the right thing even when no one's looking. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk alongside you. We're going to help you figure this out. Of course, we want to grow our business. We all want to grow our business.
Sure.
But we want to do the right thing. And in helping people and creating that network, it all comes back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you and I have. You see that from the charity work and stuff that you do, and the vibrant thing. It brings life, right? We're blessed to have all these opportunities. And at the end of the day, let's share that. And it's not just financial. It's opening pathways.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And that's what brings me joy, besides what you didn't let me talk about my wife. My amazing wife that puts up with me, and my
Tina will curse me later for that one.
Tina Neubauer. She is
because I've talked about kids and Raiders and insurance.
She's the brains behind all this stuff. She's been in the industry for even longer.
Yeah.
And I don't hold a candlelight to her knowledge.
Yeah.
She is like an actuary. She knows it all. And then my beautiful children, Luke, which is 9, and my daughter Ava. So you talked about, and I'm going to gloat. You talked about taking time. So my son has some mental challenges, some issues. He's amazing, but he started fencing recently.
Nice.
And he's just started doing private lessons.
Good for him.
So we're picking him up at 2:30. Tuesdays our day. Like we're dialed in.
Love that.
Nothing else is going to take the place of that.
Yeah,
and
of course.
And that's
I would expect nothing less.
That's the back and forth that you want to work hard and provide, but you also need to be there because man, life happens quickly. Your kids are grown now. I turn around and look and I'm like, they're 9 and 7.
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen?
I got a 7-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm grateful most importantly for our friendship. Where did the desire come to try and help people really change their mindset? Because that's a really hard task. Like, where is it that you thought, I'm going to help this person get out of their comfort zone, get out of their uncomfortable skin, and really show the power that they have as a human being, and then help them kind of, put that into their career?
Yeah, great question. I think it was probably in regards to, I have always been in business development. Ever since I graduated, actually even before that, when I had my very first job at Trader Joe's.
Nice.
I was
best produce in the country.
And I was like, this was back in Laguna Hills, where we were right next to what is now Laguna Woods.
Oh, sure.
And it was all 80-year-old women. And I would be like, oh, this is the great one, or this. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I thought, wow, I can influence other people, but do it authentically, because I think there's a difference between influence and manipulation. Manipulation is where I win, you lose. And usually there is a lot of lying, that goes along with that. As opposed to influence, what somebody who is effective at doing that is they ask questions. They get to know somebody, and then they realize, okay, this would be really good for them. Now it's my turn to influence them based on what they told me. But I would say one of the biggest secrets to great business development success is to be really good at your questioning and really good at your listening. Because if you do that, you're going to get all the information that you need from the person to say, I would be a really good fit for you, or I would not be a good fit for you. And I've seen this done firsthand by you, Chris, because you did this, with Julie and I. And we were like, well, this and well, this and well, this. And it's just a conversation. It's not a close. It's just a conversation. I just want to have a conversation. Let's just see if this is right. But utilizing that information allows you to influence people. And as I was doing this, I saw people who were doing it very unethically. And I wanted to right that ship, And even when, we talked earlier about Carl. When I worked for Carl, I was in charge of sales training. I had to train, the 50 to 60 salespeople that were in there that were hardcore aggressive sales.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Carl and I stuck to is don't lie. Don't lie.
Yeah, keep it
simple. Well, that means you got to get really smart. That means you can't cut corners. That means you got to do it right, But when you would see them land these huge deals and do it in a really authentic way, it opens up their minds. They're like, oh my God, I can do this. Plus, people see right through that. And it's like, okay, which mask was I today? Was I this mask, or was I this mask, or this persona? Be you. Be you, And when you can bring that out in somebody, you really do see them transform. And they connect with people too. The bullshit meter is always on, especially with very wealthy individuals that need legal help.
And attorneys, right?
You
combine wealthy individuals with attorneys, their radar's up like big time, right? More so than just even the normal consumer of the world.
Yep, in a big way. So, I mean, it's fun. It's just fun watching that. And as you know, I geek out on the neuroscience of how we make decisions. And I'm always trying to learn and getting a new book here and a new book here and taking little tidbits out so that people, so I can help out my clients and also help out myself too.
And listen, I love that you talk about that neuroscience because, I went to Cal State Northridge. It took me 5 years to graduate. I'm not that smart. I like mortgages and I like real estate finance, but even the word neuroscience, I don't know if it's NEU or NUE, but where I'm getting at is so two quick things. Let me just kind of uncover something you said for a second. Yeah. don't you agree with me that your life's really probably more like a therapist to these people, right? And again, I know it's not a hard close. It's not a hard sale. You're asking questions, you're listening, but really you almost become this therapist to a certain degree to figure out like, how are they going to choose to come out of their comfort zone versus me trying to force them out of their comfort zone? Is that a fair statement that you should be like Gary Johnson, J2 Marketing therapeutic specialist or something like that?
No. So I appreciate that. However, that's what coaching is all about. We understand the strengths and the weaknesses. We work on the strengths so that they can elevate that to a whole nother level. And then if we can get rid of the weaknesses, i.e. don't do that stuff, especially when it comes to marketing and business development, we do that. But I do get what you're saying is because a lot of people have limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And one of the things we work on is limiting beliefs. I mean, I have with every single one of my clients a confidentiality clause because I need them to tell me, I don't want to do this. And here's the reasons why.
Yeah, right.
And we're not talking about family, like my parents screwed me up and any of that kind of stuff. But they may say, look, I don't feel confident. I'm very insecure when it comes to this. And you go, let's work on that.
Yeah.
Or we can say, I get it. And let's put that to the side because it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
We don't even need to deal with that, especially when somebody has deep trauma and you're like, okay, there's a trigger there. I don't want to constantly be triggering that. Let's just put it over to the side because the best thing about marketing is there's not one size fits all.
That's right.
So you're not like, oh, here we go and here we go, and I hate it when marketing agencies are like, everybody needs, and then this. Bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, because they could. Some people, absolutely. Other people, you don't need that.
I also know you two are trying to help people, not just in their business, but you two seem to look at it a holistic. Here's the business, but here's your soul. And we have to figure out a way to help you not lose your soul, during the process. And so I almost feel like part of your job is more therapist sometimes.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You got employees laying out their life story to you. You got owners laying out their life stories and willing to put anything on the line just to be right. I mean, it's a lot of therapy.
Yes.
We both major soc and psych and soc, so we're like
lined right up.
Yeah.
I've never asked you this in all of our time together. When did you start True HR Solutions, and probably more importantly, why did you start it?
So I believe it was 2012. I'm terrible with dates, but I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
I was internal HR for a large corporation, medium-sized corporation, and I didn't feel like my core values and mission was aligned with some of their decision making, and that had been a lot of my experience in consulting prior to having been in-house with this client.
Real quick, did you jump in HR right out of college?
I did.
Okay, God. Did you go to school for that? No, wait, you said soc.
Correct.
Okay, God.
Yep. And so I'm like, I can do this better, and I can align myself with people that are more aligned with my mission and core values.
Yeah.
So I thought I could do it better. Because I didn't like the way HR was being viewed or partnered with.
Yeah.
So I gave myself a 6-month plan. My husband's super supportive and never turned back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. They're going to kill me. I've never hit the microphone this many times. Did you join at the same time or did you come after?
No, I came after. So when she first started, I had 2 kids in college and I had tuition to pay. And I'm like, I don't know if I can make the job.
I don't know if I can go work for free to see if we can make it work.
Can I do it? And then I think it was about 3 years maybe after she started, I made the leap. Actually, before I thought I was going to, I did. And I wish I would have done it earlier.
Of course, right? You look back and I think I'm so fortunate to know so many entrepreneurs and it's so great to see the personality differences of them, right? Some really want to do something because they want to be great. Some I just want to make more money. Some want to work for myself. I love that you said that because the majority of successful entrepreneurs I know, not one of them who has had success said, I knew I was going to crush it right when I came, right? It's all almost the same thing. I was scared shitless. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm trying to get, now that the kids are out of college, they're on the payroll. I'm still paying their cell phone bill. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, like I wish I would have done it so much sooner. That's what I love about both of you is that you're like, oh, we're just these 2 girls from this small town and look at what we've done. Those are the stories that that's why people want to work with you because you don't take it for granted. I'm just going to affirm you don't tout yourselves as we're bitching. You're like, are these girls from this small town? And we just had an idea because I didn't like the way the corporate world was treating employees, and I felt like it could be done better, and we staked our claim, and we're so grateful, right? Which is great. Why do you? There's been a massive shift in HR consulting, what I'm going to call independent companies who will kind of come in and be your HR department, and there's some similarities in mortgage with what you do, but what do you attribute to, call it 2012 to now? There's been a massive swing with a lot of companies like True HR Solutions that have come on the scene. Is that because corporations are trying to get more talent for the same money it would take to hire someone? Is it we got one person in HR and when they're out for a week, we're shut down? Is it I want 4 brains instead of 1? Is there something you can attribute to the massive upsurge in companies like yours?
Go ahead. Yeah, I think if you look at the role of HR, there is a lot of what we do is very tactical, administrative, but there's also some higher level, higher like knowledge base of compliance. And if you have a small to medium sized company, you don't need to spend $200,000 on a director of HR that has all of this. You can hire someone at a lesser capacity and then have a consultant sprinkle in where they need to and be strategic and be the eyes on compliance, but the day-to-day kind of minutia of HR can be done at a much lower cost. And a lot of companies are realizing it's very affordable to do it that way. At least that's what I've seen. But I think COVID kind of pushed that narrative as well. People downsized. They didn't need a full-time HR department. People want remote.
Yeah.
So this consulting thing, for us, COVID, we doubled in business during
COVID. No
COVID.
kidding.
So I think that also brought awareness of like, we don't need someone full time. We've already scaled down. We can get the support that we need at half the cost. So.
Okay. Wow. I love hearing story. I hate COVID for the social reasons for the kids and the people, all of it. But there are some lemonades out of that lemon. And I love that you doubled. I'll tell you what's crazy about that. I was on a Zoom call, I felt like, with both of you every day improvisers for those 2 years, yet you doubled your business. Like you didn't sleep. No. Like a lot of Red Bull and coffee or something, right?
16, 18-hour days. It was crazy. Yeah. It was fun, though. It was moving and shaking. Our team was so tight. We had just hired 2 new people, and we were not going to let anything happen to them because they trusted to come with us. And so we wanted to make sure we were able to give them work and pay them.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Probably at the detriment of your own financial pocket during that time.
A little bit.
Which a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine. I've been, self-employed my whole life. He's like, oh, it must be so great being self-employed. I'm like, well, there's for sure some benefits. He's like, no, it's great. I'm like, okay. I said, what happens when you don't have enough money to pay your staff, let alone yourself? I think people think being self-employed is so glamorous. And don't get me wrong, that there's a reason you are. And there's so many great things about it. Anyone who's never been self-employed has no idea how strenuous it can become, mostly with finances, because can I afford to hire the cleaning person, or can I just clean the office once a week and stay till 11? Can I afford to hire someone to do QuickBooks, or can I just take it on? And you wrestle with that stuff, and then you make a decision, and then you either realize it was the right one or the wrong one. And I love that you said, well, we made a commitment, and it was probably to your own detriment financially, right? But that's what happens when you decide to take something on. I want to go back for a second to the corporate world. I don't want to put you on the spot too much.
Sure.
Is it fair to say through your words, you didn't really like the way HR was being run, maybe in the way it was corporation trying to align more for themselves versus really caring about the employees? Or did you hate the employees? Or like, what's that disconnect that says, nope, I'm going to go stake my own claim?
I think it was the top leadership down mentality instead of the bottom up mentality.
Yeah.
So it was more about, like we talked about, it's all about me and you're going to do what I want because this is my company and I don't care what you like. It wasn't collaboration. It wasn't, let me ask your opinion. It was like, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And so I think I felt like a loss of freedom, a loss of decision making. HR was seen as a department, not as like a collaborator.
Yeah.
So I think that was really important for me to have that.
Was that here in California?
Yes.
Okay, so it's crazy. I worked for a large national company a while back, and the owner is the biggest narcissist I've ever met in my life. And he went through like, it's a big company, like thousands of employees. I think there was like 4 different heads of HR in 4 years. And one of them I befriended, and we became good friends. And one of the things I found out was he would come to her and say, tell me how to do this. And she's like, oh, this is how you make the cake, right? Put this. And then as soon as the cake was made, he's like, I don't want that cake. And she'd be like, okay, how do you want to do this with employees? Do this. And then he would say, oh, she's like, we can't do that. It's illegal.
Yeah.
And he'd say, well, we're going to do it anyway, because one of his corporate attorneys would come in and say, listen, we're going to get sued. We'll be fine. And he went through 4 in 4 years. And I'm not saying every organization is like that. She didn't like the employees either, because he seemed to hire people that weren't great people. But for her, she's like, I can't come to work every day and lie. I can try and get gray. I can help you push an envelope a little bit. I can't knowingly tell you to do something and you're going to break the law and just have some attorney come in and do it. And I know a lot of companies, especially in California, they just get so frustrated with the process. They're like, I don't care. They're going to just have to sue me. And it's just kind of part of the process. But it takes away, how can I really be a resource to these employees to make the company better? I think some of the C-level executives forget, like, you can be demonstrative and narcissistic from the top, but if you want your business to grow, like, let's try and let the employees be healthier or happier or more productive.